What's up, everyone? I'm Ed Zinda, and this is What the Funk. In this video, we're going to talk about the super useful Ethersjs library and why you should probably use it over the more popular Web3.js library. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you join our notification squad by hitting that notification bell so you don't miss a video whenever I post something new. And with that out of the way, let's get started. To start, let's talk about what Ethersjs actually is. Most people, when they're talking about working with a client-side decentralized application, they usually talk about using Web3.js, which is a very popular library for communicating with Ethereum nodes and then displaying that information on a client such as the browser or a mobile application. Ethersjs does the same exact thing, but in my opinion, seems to do this much more simply and with less code. So some of the features of Ethersjs are, it's very tiny in size. It's only 284 kilobytes uncompressed. And if you actually get the minified files, it's 88 kilobytes. It's able to import and export mnemonic phrases, so those 12-word backup phrases you see all the time. It can import and export JSON wallets, and then import and export private keys. It's also super easy to get connected to an Ethereum node right away. They have a method to where you can create a provider, get the default connection to that provider using a combination of Infura or Etherscan, and it will auto connect to that without you having to set anything up. It's also TypeScript ready, so if you're experimenting with TypeScript or you're writing all of your applications in TypeScript, it has all the typing definitions ready, so you can get all that cool autocomplete goodness whenever you're programming with it. And finally, my favorite feature is the ability to use human-readable ABIs. So with Web3.js, you have to basically compile your smart contract, get the ABI from compiling that smart contract, which is just this huge unreadable JSON mess that you either copy and paste into your client-side application or put into a separate file and then read that in and then go ahead and use that to instantiate a contract. But with Ethersjs, we have what is called a human-readable API. And basically all that is taking a function signature, just a one-liner that you can easily read and understand, and then using that to instantiate your contract. And I'll show you what I mean when we start getting into the code. Now, the first thing I did was create an empty project called Ethersdemo. Then I ran yarn init to create a package.json file. You can use npm init if you prefer npm. I just use all the default settings, so I didn't really enter anything in. And then I used yarn add ethers. Once all that is set up, I created an index.js file. I imported the ethers library, created an asynchronous function called main. Now I already have a ERC20 token deployed to the Rinkeby network, so I've gone ahead and posted the address up here so I can use it. And I've gone ahead and created 2 Ethereum wallets, and we're going to instantiate them from a mnemonic phrase, which is a 12-word phrase. And I've gone ahead and set those as environment variables, phrase 1 and phrase 2 respectively. To connect to Rinkeby, I just use the ethers get default provider and then set the network to Rinkeby. In order to use that connection, both wallets need to be connected to that provider. So you can use the wallet.connect function and then pass in the provider that you just created. Now, the super cool part of Ethersjs is the human-readable ABI. So I only have to specify the functions that I'm going to use. In this case, my ERC20 token has a faucet function, and all that does is give the caller 100 func tokens, and then the standard ERC20 functions of balance of and transfer. With the ABI created, we can create a new contract. So we'll pass in the address, the ABI, and then the wallet we want to use for signing transactions. Next, I'll grab some func tokens by running the faucet method and passing the result into a transaction variable. Now, in order to ensure that the transaction is mined, we wait for the tx.wait function to finish. In this next step, let's go ahead and grab the balance of both of those wallets using the balance of method and then display them using console.log. Next, we want to take the 100 tokens that are in the first wallet and transfer them into the second wallet. Again, we wait for the transaction to be mined. Finally, we can grab the balances of both wallets and see that the 100 from the first wallet has been transferred into the second wallet. Now, if we open up a command line and cd into our Ethers demo directory, we can run node index.js. First, you will see that the first wallet has 100 tokens and the second wallet has 0. After waiting a little bit, we see that the first wallet now has 0 and the second wallet has 100 tokens. And that's it. That's how incredibly easy it is to start interacting with Ethereum smart contracts using Ethersjs. If you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.